Asante sana. Tuwapigie makofi mazuri. Asante sana, asante. Tuwapigie makofi mazuri. Thank you very much. Hey. Mjumbe na manami almane.
Makofi kwao.
Asante. Aya, nataka nimkaribishe hapa Odinga Konyango.
Agodi
on stage.
On stage. Hello, kaumnakara.
The final one for now.
Hello, kaumnakara. Wuningi mose luonga. Oburu ritnamna dipo wuningi mose luonga. Oburu ritnamna dipo wunipinyo se luonga. Hello, kaumnakara wunipinyo se luonga. Hello, kaumnakara wunipinyo se luonga. Chanore na molo mawunitinga wunibarbon. Udinya koga molo tober mo winyo sungo. Oginga mano chungi ka Jaramogi sano sero mo Jaramogi korobio. Doluo chukdu doluo penjore to adongi ngato. Ruto serie bade. Kaumna kara wun pinyo se luonga o. Kaumna kara wun pinyo se luonga. Oburu ritamna dipo wun pinyo se luonga o. Oburu ritamna dipo wun pinyo se luonga o. Awuyo kuna molo mawunya koga tuon kare michungo. Amolo pinyu penjore apenya ni kara tuondi mage miyudo. Ini tuon mano biro ka Jaramogi senino. Amolo mano konyo luka koluo to moko embani yo. Raila med mana kedo piny podoria wange o. Amolo kel mana malo pinyo serie wange. Raila chung mana kodwa joluo geno kuomi. Chorida chung mana kodwa joluo geno kuomi.
Joey.
Wapi makofi Agodi.
Let's give him a round of applause. Makofi kwa Agodi. And I want to thank all the performers. Now, let me take this opportunity to invite Adam Salo to continue with the program for there. Then the other entertainers will come at interlude. Adam Salo.
Thank you very much, Bob Madanji. And as you have listened to the entertainment, you have seen it is cultural entertainment. Cultural because Jaramogi was a man of many worlds. And one of his worlds was culture. One of the reasons that we are here in Ofafa Memorial Hall, and people have been asking, since there are so many people who have turned up, why wasn't this occasion, for example, held in a bigger place? The reason why this time the family decided to have the 30th anniversary in Ofafa Memorial Hall is because it has a history of the struggle of Jaramogi. Ambrose Ofafa, who this hall is named after, was one of the nationalists who suffered and was killed because of the national struggle. He was a councillor in Nairobi, and in 1953, during the height of the Mau Mau, he was killed. And the then colonialists tried to say that it was the Kikuyu Mau Mau who had killed Ofafa. And they were trying to sow the seed of discord between the Kikuyu and the Luo. And Jaramogi, who was then the king of the Luo Union, or the president of the Luo Union, when he heard that skirmishes between the Kikuyu and the Luo were about to take place because of the death of the farmer, Jaramogi rushed to Nairobi, and he addressed the Luo community in Nairobi and told them, let us not fall into the trap that the colonialist is trying to create between the nationalist movement. And he told the Luo community there, And as Raila Odinga and Oburu Odinga would tell you, Jaramogi sought to raise funds amongst the Luos of East Africa. He went with Raila to Uganda, and he went with Oburu to Tanzania, and they can tell you all the places they went, raising funds that ended up in the building of this memorial hall. So the Jaramogi family thought it befitting that in the 30th anniversary, this memorial should not be in Kango Jaramogi, but should be instead in Ofafa Memorial Hall to capture the culture and memorialization of Jaramogi, the culture man and the nationalist. And with that introduction, let me call the governor of Kisumu County, Professor Nyang' Nyong'o, to welcome you to the county.
Thank you very much, Professor Adams Law, for that fantastic introduction to why we are here today. But as Governor of Kisumu, I want to welcome you, all of you, for showing such a big and important respect to Jaramogi and Kisumu County by coming here today for this memorial. I also want to thank, well, before I go very far, the team that made it possible for us to meet in this hall today. The history of this hall for the last 30 years or so is something that will be told later. But what we see here today, 2 weeks ago, we would not have been here. I want to thank my Deputy Governor, Dr. Willie, and the Minister for Culture and Gender and Social Services, Mheshimiwa Wadiaga, Beatrice, and particularly Abala Wanga, the city manager, and the team that worked here tirelessly. I thank you all for making us meet here this morning and this today. But more particularly, as I welcome you to Kisumu, all of you, I also want to thank the following people for coming here, especially, first, Mama Margaret Kenyatta. You are coming here today, given the history you just heard, is very symbolic. We are reliving and we are living. We are reliving the past and living the future. And it is good you are here today with your Odinga family to lay the foundation for this future once more. Thank you very much for coming. I also want to thank very much today for coming here for the political significance of your arrival, Ambassador Olaro Tunu from Uganda. From especially for a few guests whose being here today as we revive of half a memorial hall is very symbolic. Let me also thank Gitu Kahengeri, Mzee Gitu Kahengeri, a veteran of the Mau Mau struggle. I am told that Gitu is about 100 years old, and yet he came here today to make sure that he's present on this occasion. Let us respect Mzee Gitu Kahengeri with our applause. Thank you very much. I also want to thank, finally, I would have thanked you all who have come here, but Mama Raila Mbogo. Mama Raila Mbogo, where is she? She is there. Now, if you know the history of that mama in Nairobi and Iluo politics and natural politics, it is good he is here to represent that tradition of valiant women in Kenya who have been part and parcel of this struggle. And finally, the family of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who made it this possible, led by Oburu Odinga, now the doyen of the family, and Raila Modo Odinga, whose family now bears the responsibility of making sure that Jaramogi's legacy lives in the political history of this nation. I welcome you all today. Thank you very much for coming to Kisumu. We are honored, we are pleased. We thank God for the sermon this morning that laid the ground and the road for the future. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Hallelujah. Karibuni Kisumu.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Governor Anyang' Nyong'o. As you know, the Jaramogi family is today remembering Jaramogi and has asked us, all of us and Kenyans of all walks of life, to be here. And after Jaramogi died, again from a cultural perspective, it was Dr. Oburu Odinga who took over the mantle of culturally and leading the family. In fact, when he was succeeding his father as the MP for Bondo in 1994, he made these remarks that here at home, I'm the leader. But outside there, politically, Raila is my leader. So let me now call the leader of the Jaramogi family after the death of Jaramogi, Dr. Oburu Odinga, Atar Komodo, Oburu Kabuta Inga Kunja. Karibu.
Okay. Yeah. All protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to this very, very auspicious occasion, a very, very important event for us as a family. And I'm told by Mr. Balawanga that there is a small video, a very small one for 5 seconds, which he wants to play, and then we proceed.
Must be a champion of the social, political, and economic development of the people. It must thus seek to report on the efforts of the people to bring about these developments. The press must indeed go further than this and champion those social, political, and economic systems best suited for the development of Africa. In a nutshell, the press must be involved in championing the correct direction of development in Africa and the culture on which African socialism as our ideal without the consent of the total part into some papers which, when there is anything good about me or good about somebody whom they have selected not to publicize, then that one they will play down and even put it in a hidden corner somewhere. But when something comes bad about Odinga, they will make the headline.
Yeah, that was a statement Jaramogi made in London. There was a scandal which was in the Times in London, and we were there with Othigo Tieno. And Othigo Tieno insisted that Michael Blundell made a statement which was given prominence in the British press, and Jaramogi had the right to reply. And Jaramogi was replying to those scandalous statements which appeared in the British press. That was made in London. And that time I was also around there. That's the time I was going to Russia. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this auspicious occasion, as I had said before, and also to introduce members of our family who are present here, the Jaramogi family. I would like them, I'm not going to introduce each one of them individually because there are many. Jaramogi has grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and he has his wives are still alive. Those wives were in the church. If you saw them, then you would know Jaramogi's choice. Jaramogi was a very choosy person. He had very beautiful wives. Yes, and they are still here, Betty and Mama Susan. Can they all stand the Jaramogi Karumaindo? The Karumaindo of Jaramogi. Please stand up, led by Mama Betty and Mama Susan there. And Professor King, but she's going to speak. So I don't know whether that is all of them. They are not, that is not all of them. But anyway, those who are not there, Santeni Sana, the members of my family. Now, I just want to also take this opportunity to introduce Mama Margaret Kenyatta and one of the sisters-in-law of hers who was a student with my sisters. They have come here to represent their family. The former president, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, was not able to come personally. He has an engagement in DRC Congo, and his brother Muhoho has also sent his greetings to you. He is also away, he is out of the country, and Mamangina. All of them have sent greetings to you. And particularly Mamangina, we have very, very fond memories of her. She was a very good friend of my mom, Mary. She used to call my mom Mary. And when you go back, please pass our best regards to her. Our family has very, very fond memories of Mzee Kenyatta. If you go to Susan's house here in Milimani, you will find a room which was dedicated to Mzee Kenyatta, and that is where he used to sleep. That is where he used to have his security there and himself sleeping there in those very, very good years. And I also want to tell you people who think that there was a very, very big rift between Jaramogi and Mzee Kenyatta. Mzee Kenyatta was respected by Jaramogi, and Jaramogi regarded Mzee Kenyatta to be his hero up to the time of death. When Jaramogi was mourning Mzee Kenyatta, he mourned him as a hero. They disagreed on ideological issues. The disagreements were ideological. Jaramogi believed in one way, he was supposed to deliver services to the people, and Mzee Kenyatta was believed in another one. And because of that, some people are mistaking that that Mzee Kenyatta was against the Luo. Kenyatta was not against the Luo. The disagreement between the families were not tribal, they were not ethnic, they were ideological. And therefore they were genuine ideological differences which should happen in a healthy political atmosphere all over the world. So we appreciate and we'll continue to cement those relationships. We shall continue to revive and correct whatever mistakes. If there were any mistakes made by them, we shall correct them. And we shall remain friends forever with the Kenyatta family. We are your friends forever. Thank you and welcome here. Now, I also want to say that this year, which is the 30th anniversary of Jaramogi's demise, this is the year also which marks the 40th anniversary of my mom's death. Unfortunately, I want to tell you that my mother died when Raila was in detention. Some of you don't know how painful it is when your mom is buried. In your absence, you are in prison. We try to plead with the authorities to release him, at least to just come and say bye-bye to his mom, whom he loved greatly, whom he loved dearly. But they just refused, and they did not even want the information to reach him that his mother had died. Only Ida found some way of sneaking that information to him, and that is how he got it. But even when we met him 3 months after, they still thought Raila was not aware his mother had died, even though he had already gotten the information much earlier. So when we went to see him with Ida, he was seated and we were telling him that, we lost our mom, and he pretended to be crying, but he had already known. So those are some of the historical things which happened at that time. But you can see Raila, with all those tribulations, being in jail for over 8 years, he's still going strong. Anybody who thinks that, you can see Oburu is still very strong. How about Raila? Just as a child, isn't it? A small child. So that I just want to say that the man we are celebrating today, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, was a very, very committed family man. He was a committed family man, and he was also committed to this country. And when he died, I can tell you there's a time I disagreed with him. I was disagreeing with Jaramogi because I was telling him, Baba, these people have given you too much trouble. You have been in detention and you came out so emancipated and you had lost so much weight because of all the thoughts in prison. Why don't you just leave the politics alone and concentrate on your businesses so that you can revive your businesses? But Jaramogi told me that, my son, I have lived with you all these years, but it appears you don't know me. You don't know the real Jaramogi. All those things you are talking about, which call businesses and small things like those, only take less than a quarter of my heart. Everything else goes to the people. That thing you'll tell me to leave politics is my life, and I will not leave it. I will fight for justice, and I will fight for the people of Kenya until I die. That was Jaramogi. Therefore, I don't want to continue much more than that. I just want to thank all the other participants who have come from far and wide to come and give lectures to us this afternoon. And I also want to say thank you very much to Professor Nyang' Nyong'o. Without Professor's heart, big heart, without his generosity, without his commitment to the cause, this occasion should not have happened. All the things which have happened here have happened because of his personal guidance and commitment, and very reliable lieutenant like Abalawanga. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And now, who is coming? Okay, thank you. Oh, Moses Kuria. Okay. Okay, I thank you very much. Let the Nini take over.
Thank you very much, Dr. Buru. Na karibu sana, Waziri Moses Kuria. That's why you are here in commotion. Can you just bring him forward slowly? Let me also recognize Governor Wanga. Let me also recognize Mama County, Ruth Odinga, who was not present when the family was introduced. And as Okay, I'll give Dr. Buru, as I told you, is the leader of the family. He'll invite the rest of the family.
Now, I would like to take this opportunity to invite my sister, Dr. Akinyi Wenwa, to come and speak on behalf of all the female gender in our family.
Hello? You don't know, Oburu is taller than me. So, good afternoon, everybody. Please. Hello, I'm talking. Please keep quiet. I'm a teacher. I don't talk when people are talking. Please keep quiet. Keep quiet. Keep quiet. Keep quiet. Yes, keep quiet. Yeah, this is, yes, my name is Wenwa Akinyi. Oh no, it's not Akinyi Wenwa. Wenwa Akinyi. Of all the girls in the family, I'm not the eldest, but I'm the first of the girls.
Excuse those behind there, can you please keep quiet? Please. This is a very solemn tribute to Jaramogi. Can we please have silence so that we listen to the speakers? Please.
So my name is Wenwa Akinyi, not Akinyi Wenwa. Please, it's not the other way around. And before I talk, I want to introduce my sisters. I know they had already gotten up, but I'm supposed to represent the Jaramogi's daughter. So please stand up wherever you are. I want to also correct, there are people who have been wondering why when you, oh my God, please keep quiet. Mr. Gina, I can see you. Yeah, please keep quiet, everybody. So so that we don't take much time. So a lot of people have been wondering why when you see pictures of Jaramogi's family or earlier life, that it's only us, yeah, my mother's children. It is not because of any discrimination. I want to tell you that a lot of people believe that Jaramogi was polygamous, but he was not really polygamous as such. My first stepmother was married after Oburu was already married. And in fact, my Oburu's son is older than our eldest step or half sister, who is also called Akinyi Walkowa. So let me introduce. So this is Akinyi Walkowa is the eldest, and by the time she was born, I was actually in Form 3. And Oburu was already married and already had a son. So you can see, and it was my mother's cousin. It's my mother who forced my father to get married again because people were laughing at her, saying she's a very jealous woman who cannot entertain or accommodate a co-wife. And so she brought her cousin and forced my father to marry her. Then, Akinyi Walkowa... That is true. That's true. So then my second stepmother, you've seen Susan. So the daughter is Anyango, Emily Anyango Dumpoda, and she's an MC in Kisumu County. There is Pauline Oginga or Kanyabondo. She's a chief officer of health in Mombasa. And now Nyakamami, my mother's last born, who is also the women rep of Kisumu County. So before I say anything, I'd like her to say something on behalf of the others.
I'm a bit shorter. I'm actually very short. Asante. Thank you very much. On behalf of Kisumu County, I would like to say, Karibuni Kisumu. This is Ruto Odinga, Mama County, Kisumu. So you're all welcome. I'm the last, Mama County. Oh, there's the other Mama County, First Lady. You're all welcome, and I won't want to say much. I only want to say one thing. When my brother Buru stood here, he said that he talked a lot about his father. But I want to also say one, that if any of you want to see Jaramogi alive, look at me, from my hair to my toe. My Jaramogi muna no kani. A child code kadak mane Oburu ji wacho no bure first born no buru child code. To baba ne wacho ne gani ni ma child code en choka cha made nyuol na go mana wuoyi. To kata kamano okakuodo wiye. Anyako bende ma pod thuona. Donga uyego. Wan tie wan magore. Gini pod magore to juok Oginga be an go. To juok Oginga wachona. Ni 2027 podumo neno mana wuodo Odinga moro kama dhi lido Kenya ka. Ero kama no uru Nyasaye mondo duoko.
Thank you. Thank you, Nyakamami. So there's Tabu. Tabu, can you just get up and wave to the people? Just wave to the people. Tabu Osewe, who's MCA in Kisia County and is the wife to the late Osewe. I don't know where Aquino is. You have already met everybody else. So let me just say a few words. I'm sure when I'm invited here, you don't want to hear about Jaramogi being a great politician, being a statesman, being a champion for the oppressed and all of that, because everybody has talked about that. I'm sure you all want to know his other life, isn't it? You all want to know how he related to his family and especially the girls. And a lot of times when people, oh please, now why is everybody talking? Am I boring? Why are you all talking when I'm talking, surely? It's only a few minutes, just listen. So in church, people have always, Oburu and Raila have always explained how they were baptized using African names. And that Mzee was against European names. He was, and a lot of people mistake. They are saying that Jaramogi hated European culture. That's not true. Jaramogi loved European culture. He loved Indian and other Eastern cultures and other cultures. He just did not like people copying other people's culture when it is not yours. Yeah, so that's what he did not like. And a lot of people have all these myths about him. When I was in school, people would come to ask me that, oh, we hear your father turns into foam, he turns into a fly, he turns into this. And then you get surprised because I was living with him in the same house and I never saw any of those things. Did any of you ever hear those stories about him? And you are called, you don't have any of those names. So one time I told you the idea of Jennifer, then I dropped it. So, it never stuck. And all of us, except for Raila, all of us at one time or another took on some European names, but we were too shy to let our parents know. So Oburu, I don't know whether they'll forgive me, but Oburu, when he was in Pehil, he was called John Dennis. He wanted to impress his friends. Yeah, he wanted to impress his friends, I think even girls. Especially girls. So Agola was called Barack Buka. And then my sister Beryl was called Jane Alice when she was in Nyakach Girls. But later she went to St. Francis in Mangu and she changed religion. She became a Catholic and then got baptized as Beryl. So that's her real name. AJAABU did not need to take on any name because she was named after Ruth first. Yeah, so that is her name. So then later on, these three people were baptized, Raila, Oburu, and my father. The Legio Maria people came and baptized them. My father was called Nicodemo Oginga. And Raila was called Joshua Raila. and Oburu was called Caleb. So mine was the most dramatic because when I was going to Kenya High School, Mrs. Caroline Okelo Dongo, she was an African American, but she was also my father's PA, and she took me shopping. So when we went back to the house, at that time it was called Cabernet Gardens. No, it was called Archer Gardens, the present day Cabernet Gardens. So he looked at the list of the school and he said, I don't want these names. When you take her to school, can you cross these names? And he took a piece of paper and said, her real names are Wenwa, Asewe, Opondo, Oginga. Can you imagine? So I didn't think he was serious. Then I go to Kenya High School, and when we finished at the principal's office, she took out that piece of paper and said, I want to change her name. And so my name was quickly removed because I didn't tell you that the name I was using was different. Before I went to Maseno Girls, I called Raila and Oburu and asked them, what name should I take? And then they quickly had a meeting and said the name Roslyn. And I've never had such a sweet name. It was so sophisticated, so nice. So I changed everything. I was called Roslyn Akinyi. In Maseno, everybody there knew me as Roslyn Akinyi. So even when I went to Kenya High School, my admission papers had the name Roslyn Akinyi. Then my father went and my name was changed. So can you imagine? Kenya High School at that time was really, what do you call it? It was a typical colonial school. You know, there are all these school rules, there are table manners, respect your elders, you know, the pudding, you know, with custard and trickle tarts and I don't know what, jam tarts. And you can imagine that environment is where I went with a name like Wenwa, Opondo, Akinyi, Oginga. It was, I have never been so embarrassed. And the class teacher, whenever she was reading the register in the morning, when she reached my name, she would start, Wenwa, Asewe, Opondo, and then she would pause, yeah? And then continue, so that everybody started laughing. Can you imagine what I went through? And all my friends were having nice names, Agnes, Gladys, Jane, you know, sweet names. So later, much later, I managed to drop some of the names. So I stayed with Wenwa, Akinyi, Odinga, you know. Much later, I managed on my own way to. So we also had our own struggles, but it did not mean that he hated English names or English culture. It was just not our culture, full stop. So what I want to stop there. I'm writing a book. Some of these things are in that book. So later on you will be able to read, if at all it is ever published. Yeah. But my mother died almost 10 years ago. That is in November 1984, almost 10 years before. So she's going to be 10 years in November this year. They met at a sports ground called Migwena in Sakwa, a traditional sports ground for Luos from all over Nyanza. And she was a pretty girl, and she was outrunning all the other girls, and he fell in love with her. And later on, he managed to get her. So I just want to request that please, our political leadership, can you people do something about Migwena? Can you develop Migwena, yeah, to bring it up maybe into a modern stadium or, you know, a cultural stadium? And that's all I want to ask. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Now, on behalf of the in-laws, the daughters-in-laws of Jaramogi, I want to invite Minpin, Dr. Ida Odinga to come and say a few words. So Ida, karibu. Minpin.
Hello? Hello? Are you happy? I'm also very happy. All protocols observed. And Jidu taman chen kuna neno ukena fuayo nu. Today is a very special day because I've been requested to say something about my father-in-law. 30 years ago, by the time my father-in-law was passing on, he had 4 daughters-in-law, were led by Dr. Anoburu. Is Ann here? Dr. Anoburu. Unfortunately, Ann is not here. There was Margaret Agola. Margaret is gone. She's deceased. She's no longer there. And then there was Tabu Osewe, who is here. Tabu is a MCA, elected MCA in Bondo, Sakwa West. And the 4th one is me. So today, this mantle has fallen on me to talk on behalf of Jaramogi. Now, when I got married in that home, that is about 50 years ago. When I got married in that home 50 years ago, let me say, when I first met Jaramogi, I was so scared because I didn't know I was going to meet such a great man. My boyfriend then, Raila Odinga, cheated me that he was taking me for a ride from Kisumu. Nitabwe. Then he took me for a ride and we went on passing some villages and some bushes. Eventually, we arrived in a home that looks really good. The home was well organized. And I asked him, where is this? Then he told me, this is my home. I was so shocked. I said, why didn't you tell me that you are coming to your home? Because I would have prepared myself mentally and even dress-wise, I would have prepared myself. Then I was not dressed like this. But then, when we got there, the next thing he told me, come and meet my father. Who are you to meet the great Jaramogi Odinga? I was damn scared. I almost fainted, but I didn't. So I met the old man for the first time. He was such a nice person. He talked nicely. And in the end, he gave me, was it 200 shillings? That was a long time ago. And he said, go buy soda on your way. That was Jaramogi. I think from that day, he made very quick arrangements for me to get married. And that's why I'm here, standing here today. Jaramogi, as a father-in-law, was a very, very kind person to all of us daughters-in-law. He used to talk to us nicely. During Christmas, he used to give us gifts. I remember one time, he gave me perfume. I don't know what he gave Anna. By that time, Tabu was not there. He stood by us when things were difficult and when things were good. We used to celebrate a lot in his presence. But I'll talk about myself. During the time, in the early 80s, when Raila was arrested and eventually charged with treason and was thrown there in committee, I went to Jaramogi and I said, you know what? Do you know he's been charged with treason? And I've read what the Constitution says and says the only verdict is death. He laughed and told me, don't worry. Those things will not happen. I don't know whether he believed it or he was just trying to encourage me to know that things were okay. That was Jaramogi. He would always encourage me and encourage all of us. There was also that soon after that, he was put under house arrest here in Kisumu. But for the first 3 months, I was allowed to go and see him in Kisumu. Later on, I was barred from even walking on Taifa Road. Taifa Road is that road where his house is. I was told, I was given a letter that restricted me from either walking on Taifa Road or driving along Taifa Road or being anywhere near Milimani. Those were the rules those days. Anybody could make a rule and that rule stood. So I was not able to see him. But later on, after that, I lost my job. The first sacking, or the first retirement, 1988. Later on, he told me, don't worry about those people. You know, there are many ways that people can live. You don't only have to be employed to live. There are many things you can do. And he started training me on how to do other things. He started training me on how to manage people and how to manage some businesses. And I still do that up to today. My greatest teacher that modeled me was Mzee Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. I know most of you ask, why weren't you modeled by your father? My father died when I was about 7 years old. So I grew up without a father. I didn't know what the responsibilities of fathers in the homes. I thought my mother was everything, and actually she was everything. But I didn't know that there could be a father. When I met Jaramogi and I became one of the daughters-in-law, he loved me dearly. And I used to say, so this is how those people with fathers feel. I found a father, a real father in Jaramogi. And his passing actually still hurts us up to today. In my speeches, where I work, whatever I do, I always refer to him, that Jaramogi would not do it like this. Or when somebody confronts me with problems, I said, what would Jaramogi say? What would Jaramogi do? He was a great teacher. He was a great father-in-law. He was a great friend. And with those few remarks, we thank God and we pray to God to rest his soul in eternal peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Min Peng. She has the record of being the lady who was retired in quotes in public interest twice for being associated with the Jaramogi Odinga family. That was the only crime for her being retired twice in public interest. Now we will go to a documentary on Jaramogi's political life. So if you can bring that documentary, because Jaramogi rose from the village and became a child of the world. There we are.
Jaramogi Ajuma Oginga Odinga is a political giant who straddled Kenya's political landscape like a colossus, both in life and in death. A nationalist and statesman who remains as the greatest of them in the political arena, who stands tall as the great patriot Kenya has ever had and a doyen of opposition politics, betrayed at both of Kenya's momentous political turning points, being the was a teacher by profession, come businessman and politician is best remembered as a selfless political leader who sacrificed his personal glory for the sake of the country. When he declined the golden offer that was placed in his hands to be Kenya's founding president, and instead